What's up, y'all? It's your girl Kayla J and I'm back with another video. Today is gonna be a little different. I'm gonna be showing y'all how I did this frontal wig install. You know. So if you want to learn how to, do a frontal wig install, make sure you stick around for this video. Yes, I look good right now, but I'm gonna just go ahead and warn y'all, I look crazy during this whole video. But make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and leave comments down below about any questions you might have about the process. Shoot, leave me any tips if you have some. All that good stuff, I ain't gonna do too much talking because I hate videos that talk too much in the beginning. So, let's just go ahead and hop right in it. Okay, when doing the frontal, I always like to start with the bald cap method. These are the ones I use. You can find any of these at your local beauty supply. So you go ahead and stretch that thing out as far as you possibly can on your head. I know a lot of people like to stretch it all the way here, but I'm going to just stretch it to here and cut the ear tabs out. And you want to be real careful when cutting this because you don't want the holes to be super big, and you just want them to be just right. So you're going to see me doing that on both sides. I had a couple of technical difficulties with my scissors because they wasn't trying to cut, but we got through it. Okay, so you'll pretty much end up with something like this if you're doing it the way that I'm doing it. Next, you're going to grab your glue. I use Ghost Bond for this. I know a lot of people use the Got To Be Free spray. I used to use that method, but that method started pulling my edges out, as you can see, so I had to let it go. But with the Ghost Bond, what you're going to do is just add a thin layer from ear to ear, and then you're going to smooth it out. Be sure not to put too much because you literally just gluing the cap, that's all. Okay, and once you finish, going ear to ear, what you're going to do is grab your rat tail comb and you're just going to smooth that thing out as much as you possibly can. And see here, that's why I gave myself wiggle room, because when you're spreading it out, you're going backwards, forwards, and you just don't want it to get on your hairline. So it's good to give it a little space. You want it to be as smooth as possible because this is basically a bald cap method, and you want it to just be flat when you go in to cut it. And after I think I got it as flat as I possibly can, what I do is I just go ahead and let it sit for about maybe 10 minutes. Just let it sit and dry. And then I came back. It wasn't all the way dry. It was still a little tacky, so what I did was went in with the blow dryer on the highest setting. It was really hot, but that is going to get it dry. You want to make sure that thing is all the way dry before you get started in going on to the next steps. So after that, what you're going to do is get you some needle and thread, and you're going to sew the back of the cap to your braids just to keep it on, because when you go to cut the cap, you don't want it to be lifting up in the back, so you're going to sew it down. And you do not have to be a pro at sewing in hair. Literally just sew that thing in. Just sew it in. And you're going to see me kind of wrapping it around the needle. That's just me putting knots in it so it don't come out. Alright, so once you've secured the back, what you're going to do is go ahead and cut the remainder of that cap off. You want to make sure you have some really good sharp scissors for this, but also be really careful when you're cutting because it's very easy to cut yourself. As y'all can see, for me, the way that I try to avoid cutting myself is I tug on the cap just a little bit. That kind of helped me see where the cap ends and my skin begins, and it helps me not to cut myself. Yeah, so you're just going to do that on both sides. right, giving very much Drew Hill, but as y'all can see, it's giving bald cap for real. Like, I couldn't go bald, but this is really good. Like, this is a great representation of a bald cap. So next, you're just gonna get some makeup. I think that it is best to use a powder makeup, so I'm using my bronzer because it's a little darker and I needed something a little darker because it was light. So you're just gonna pat that in, get some full, you know, good coverage on it because you want it to try to blend as close as possible. As you can see, mine is still a little light, but that is okay because if you think about it in real life, your scalp is lighter than your skin, so you can kind of get away with that. Alright, and next I'm just gonna go ahead and get the wig, put it on my head, see how it's looking, you know, just get kind of like a good feel for it. And as y'all can see, like, it look good. Like, it's literally giving scalp. And now I'm showing y'all that it's time to cut the ear tabs out. This is honestly the hardest part for me. Like, y'all, this is like the hardest part. It took me forever to do this part, which is why I kind of sped it up. So as you can see, I'm using my finger as a guide. I'm trying to find my ear. I'm basically like, okay, my ear is right here. So wherever your ear is, you kind of just want to use that to guide you and cut at a diagonal. So you're going to cut like going up towards your ear. You're kind of going to cut it kind of like how your ear curves. So you're just going to do that. Make sure the hair is separated. That's why I use that pen, because if you don't, you will be cutting the ends of the hair and you don't want that to happen. So once you do that, make sure you cut all the lace from the cap as well. And as y'all can see, like, it was good. Don't mind the cap in the back. My hair is really small, so all my caps are huge. So all right, here we go to the other side. Y'all, I am right-handed, so everything on my left side is so difficult for me to do. As y'all can see, it took me so many tries to get this one down packed. I just was like, okay, my finger is not working for me, so I got the comb. And the comb helped me out a lot more, and as you can see, like, it gave me like a clear path. And then I'm just gonna basically do the same thing. Just clip it up, make sure you got that clear line, get that diagonal line going, get that, oh my goodness, get that diagonal line going, and then you just gonna do the same thing. You're gonna cut upwards. Next, I'm just putting it from ear to ear, sizing it, making sure it looks good, which it does. And then once I figure that out, I'm like, okay, time to move on to the next step. I get my Ghost Bond glue and do the same exact thing I did when I was just gluing the cap down. This time I'm going to use a lot more glue than I did before though, because this is the glue that I'm using to make sure the wig stays intact. Some people like to do thin layers and do maybe like 2 or 3 layers, but for me, I like to just do one thick layer. That way I don't have to keep going back in, and that's just so time consuming. But with this thick layer, y'all, just please make sure, if you're gonna do that, make sure you thin it out as good as you possibly can with that red tail comb. So that's what you see me doing here. It took me longer than last time to thin it out because there's so much more glue, as y'all can see. You know, it's caking up on the comb, so I'm just working it in, and you work it in until you just, you know, feel like you can't anymore. I can't stress enough how important this step is, because if you don't thin this out as much as you possibly can, what it happen is when you get ready to put that lace on, you'll be looking real crazy, and y'all gonna see in a minute what I'm talking about. So what I'm doing now is applying that same makeup that I applied to the cap to the wig. You want to always make sure you use that same makeup because you want the lace to match the cap. And don't be scared to use a good amount of makeup. You're going to need a lot, because what's going to happen is the makeup is going to be going through the lace. So you want to make sure you're getting as much on the lace as you possibly can. So I ended up going in with the blow dryer again, because as you can see, there still was some white spots in it, and I wanted to get it as clear as I could. But also, y'all, please just make sure y'all not drying it too much to the point where it's too dry for it to even lay the wig. Then I went ahead and went in and started combing the hairs back. This is an important step because you don't want the hairs to be stuck in the lace, not in the lace, but in the glue. So push that back. And I know a lot of people push the baby hairs back too, but I am not one of those people because I just feel like it's easier to keep the baby hairs out. That way, once it's on my head, I literally don't even have to worry about combing the baby hairs out because they already gonna be out. Then you're just gonna go ahead and get ready to put the wig on. It is important that you don't let that lace touch the glue just yet, because once it's on there, it's on there. So what y'all see me doing now is make sure I'm lining it up correctly before I even think about putting it on. I did not do a good job of thinly laying the glue, so make sure you really lay that glue really well. And then I kind of go ahead and pull it, just tug it just a little bit, not too much, but you want to firmly place it in the glue. And see that glue coming through the lace. That's what happens when you use too much glue. But I do know how to fix this, so yeah, just make sure you do it right the first time. Don't be like me. Then just use your fingers to go ahead and lay each side down. Once you lay that side down, go ahead, go to the other side. Use your fingers, just pat it in, just tap it in just a little bit. You ain't got to be too rough with it. Then grab your rat tail comb, go ahead and comb it in. This kind of helps it melt more. And as y'all see, I really couldn't even comb that part because of the glue. I didn't want to comb the glue into the hair, so I did not comb that part. And once you got it all combed in, you just gonna go ahead and grab your elastic band. This is the most important step with this method. Like, you have to get elastic band if you want your wig to be scalpiana. So tie that thing as tight as you possibly can. Girl, I be giving myself a whole headache from tying it too tight, but I be laid. So then you're gonna go in with your blow dryer. I usually let it dry for about 10 minutes. If I get tired of blow drying it, I'll probably just sit around and let it dry on its own. But here I just blow dried it for about like 5 to 10 minutes. Then you're gonna take that thing off. And sometimes it be sticking because I had a lot of glue, so it was getting stuck to the glue. But just pull it off gently. And y'all see that glue? That's what I was talking about. But see, luckily it wasn't too much, so I was able to kind of rub it in, and that helped me out. Of course, it was still there, but it helped me out a lot. But then, y'all, I realized I did not place it where I was supposed to. So the whole point of me keeping the baby hairs out, it just went to waste because the baby hairs was not even glued to my head. So pointless. Like I said, y'all, just do as I say and not as I do. Technical difficulties, but we're gonna make it work. So get your scissors and get your razor, and you're just gonna go ahead and cut it in sections. I usually like to do 3 or 4 sections. And then for this part, I'm sorry, y'all, I just did not know I wasn't in the frame. But you gonna lift that lace up with that in that small little section and get as close as you possibly can with that razor and cut it. And you're gonna do the same thing with all of the little, girl, look, I was so mad at myself. But you're gonna do the same thing. And like I said, what I do is I kind of pull it up just a little bit so I can see where the lace is there, like ends and my skin begins, because you do not want to cut yourself doing this stuff. All right, girl, but we lay, as y'all can see. On this side, I had to cut me another tab because that was just too big of an area. And yeah, I do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so I got to this side. I realized that I probably needed to cut the lace a little bit more because, as you can see, it's too far down on my ear. So I'm about to go ahead and cut that part out. And then also, y'all see how that area is looking really different from the other side? It's because I didn't smooth the glue out good enough right there. And that is what it looks like when you don't really, do it how you're supposed to. So y'all, do better than me. Do better than me. But it's okay because we're going to make it work. We ain't going to do nothing but put some baby hairs over it anyway. Yeah, that's just me showing y'all like, dang, okay. It's whatever. We gonna fix it. Alright, so here, this is me pulling the baby hairs out. Y'all, I was so mad at myself because I tried to avoid this step, but I ended up having to do it anyway. But just go ahead and get a thin layer from the front. Literally just get a thin layer. You do not need a lot of hair. It is baby hairs, not full grown hairs, so please don't take out too much. You just need a literally like a thin layer of hair. That is all. And you're gonna see me doing that on both sides. And once you feel like you've taken out all that you want to take out, what you're going to do is go ahead and clip the rest of the hair back. That way you separating the baby hairs from the rest of the hair. So next, I just grab all my baby hairs. Y'all don't know why I'm making this face. I'm just really dramatic. But anyways, you're going to grab those baby hairs and you're going to go back in with that elastic band. This will basically make it a more defined look from the rest of the hair and the baby hair. It'll help the baby hairs go forward a little bit better. So while I let that sit for a couple of minutes, I'm going to just go ahead and go in and cut the baby hairs. What I like to do is I like to start off long and then go short. That way I have wiggle room because you don't want to cut them too short the first time. So then I'm going to take the elastic band off and y'all going to be able to see that now the baby hairs are basically like laying forward rather than me having to like struggle pulling them forward. So the elastic band helps with that a lot. And as y'all can see, it is really thick. Like I was talking to y'all about them grown up hairs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in and pluck. I did pluck the wig beforehand, but since I messed up when it came to applying the wig, I kind of basically had to cut all that off. So I'm having to go back in and pluck it on both sides, which a lot of people like to pluck it when it's actually on their head. I do both. And I am not one of those people that like to overly pluck. Like, I like mine to kind of be thick in the front, like, you know, just a little plucking, not too much. And y'all gonna see me plucking down as well on the baby hairs because like I said, I don't want full grown hairs. I want actual baby hairs, so I'm thinning them out a little bit. And I'm gonna basically do that to both sides. So once you're done plucking it, you're going to go in and comb out all that excess hair. And then after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my hot comb. And I'm going to just go in and flatten it out everywhere that I feel like it needs to be flattened out. And make sure y'all careful with this because these hot combs get really hot. And you want to make sure that you don't burn yourself because I feel like I burn myself every time. Then I grabbed my mini flat irons, y'all. I just started doing this new trend where you curl up your baby hairs before you actually start to style them. For me, the trend it makes no difference for me. It may make a difference for some people, but I just went ahead and did it anyway. So you're gonna curl upward on both sides with your little small flat iron. Once you finish with that, you grab your got to be or whatever you use for your edges and start doing them. For me, it's really hard for me to explain how to do edges. I probably could make a video on it, but y'all see that I just went ahead and started doing them. Y'all can see that my baby hairs are really long, but that's why I keep them long, so I have room to go in and cut them, which y'all gonna see me doing as well. So, you know, here's a little bit of me doing the baby hairs. I didn't show y'all me doing all of them, but here is some of it. So for the very last step, as y'all can see, I put that elastic back on basically to lay my baby hairs. I used a lot of product, so that's why you see that elastic band sticking, but y'all see that this is what it looks like after I finish. There may be like some hard areas from like the got to be, so what I do is I go in and I comb them out as much as I can so I can loosen it up and get the area back soft. Then just go back in with that hot comb as many times as you need to get it as flat as you possibly can. And then this is just me showing y'all the whole thing all the way around. And then after that, I realized like it was really shiny at the top, so I was like, let me get my alcohol so I can just get all the excess glue off, or got to be glue off. And then here I'm just playing with the hair, showing y'all that this is some really, really wonderful lace. Make sure y'all shop SenSational Hair Co. Y'all did not have to pluck any parts out of it. Literally just part the hair and it's gonna go wherever you want it to go. This was really some great hair. Also, this was a wig that I made, so if you want to see me make this wig, just go ahead and comment down below or let me know, and I could post a video on how I constructed this wig. Thanks for watching. Love y'all.